It is told in the magic world that a sage's power and future are determined since born through a crest on their hand. 4 symbols categorize humans' talent. The first crest is a sign of superiority in terms of production. The second crest is superior in terms of strength. The third crest is superior in terms of combination attacks. And the fourth crest is the most important, namely superior in terms of combat. Unfortunately, this crest is only useful for grouping magic and cannot be used as a reference for fighting. It is said that there was a demon-hunting sage named Gaius who had the first to the third crest, but this made him dissatisfied because he needed the fourth symbol to become stronger in battle. However, the crest was impossible to change as it was an innate talent from birth. He then decided to reincarnate in order to get the fourth crest he wanted until finally he was reborn as Matthias Hildesheimer, a 12-year-old boy who was the third son of a prominent duke's family. Well, will he be able to find the power he wished for? A boy is shown who is on his way to the royal capital to take the entrance exam to the Magic Academy. The child is Matthias Hildesheimer, who is the reincarnation of the strongest great sage Gaius. Matthias aka Matty has got the fourth crest he wished for. However, people seem to think that the fourth mark is the weakest mark that could not be used optimally. Suddenly, the carriage he is traveling in is intercepted by a large calamity-ranked monster. The driver is shocked and frightened, but Matty manages to defeat the monster easily and shows his overpowering strength. Arriving at the royal capital, Matty looks around the city while admiring things around him. He accidentally overhears a girl screaming in a weapon shop, begging the store owner to make her a new magic sword. Out of curiosity, Matty enters the weapon shop and finds out what is going on there. It turns out that the girl wants to make a new magic sword for her friend who will take the academic entrance exam tomorrow. Unfortunately, the shop owner is unable to fulfill her request. Matty then offers to enhance the sword for her. The girl quickly accepts the offer. The shop owner tries to admonish her for allowing Matthias to enchant the sword, but she has faith in him. The shop owner looks at Matty, who looks like a kid. Moreover, he finds that Matty bears the crest of failure. Seeing the girl insists, he finally agrees to make her a new sword. While waiting for the shop owner to forge the sword, Matty gets to know the girl. Her name is Alma Lapucius and goes by Alma. Just then, a pretty girl appears. The girl is Lurie Abendroth, Alma's friend who needs the magic sword. Not long after, the shop owner finishes making the new sword for Lurie. Matty gets ready to enhance the sword. Surprisingly, it only takes a short time, unlike the enhancement process in common. Afterward, Lurie tries the sword and is surprised by its power. Everyone is surprised to see Lurie manage to cut the table in half in only one strike. The next day, it is the day of a Magic Academy entrance exam. Matty, Lurie, and Alma decide to take the entrance exam together. Alma seems to have a hard time in practical magic, unlike Lurie, who uses her new sword. She manages to do well in the exam and breaks the examiner's sword. Lurie praises and thanks Matty for making her an excellent sword. Matty looks embarrassed to hear her praise to him. When Matty's turn comes, he is being tested by the Knight Commander, who looks arrogant and belittles his strength. Matty then uses the chance to show his skill. In the blink of an eye, Matty is able to make the commander lose his sword and surrender. As a result, everyone who watches their fight is amazed at his abilities. On the second test, the participants will take the witchcraft test. They are required to destroy the target boards with their magic power. In this test, Lurie manages to complete it easily. However, Matty sees a slight weakness in the magic performed by Lurie. He also notices that many people perform the magic by using chants or spells. Matty thinks this is not suitable to be done in actual combat because it will be very vulnerable to being attacked when casting the spell. Then, when it comes to Matty's turn, the assessor belittles him as he sees Matty's crest, which is considered the weakest crest. But no one expects that Matty can perform well in the second test using magic without incantation and ruins the exam ground. Everyone who witnesses this is shocked and can't believe what he has done. Long story short, Matty, Lurie, and Alma are admitted to the Magic Academy. After the welcoming new student speech, Matty is invited to the headmaster's office. It turns out the head of the academy has noticed his ability to perform wordless magic. The headmaster wants to revive the chantless spellcasting magic in the academy. However, in order to do that, the academy has to take part in the upcoming inter-school competition, in which they have to fight the students from another academy whose skills are above them. If they can't win the competition and show their potential, the curriculum of wordless magic cannot be learned. This is because the academy follows the curriculum which denounces the use of chantless spell casting. Matty agrees to help and becomes the school's representative in the inter-school competition. Matty begins to help the teacher to teach wordless magic to the students. The students find the explanation easy to understand and they are able to follow the instructions easily. On the day of the inter-school competition, Matty has to face off against Devilis, a top student of the other academy. As Maddie enters the battle arena, Devilis and other students mock him after finding out he only bears the 4th crest. Maddie then notices that Devilis is actually a demon who is disguised as a human. He then begins attacking Devilis with his wordless magic. Devilis and his cohorts are surprised by Maddie's sudden attack. Devilis panics and he accidentally reveals his real identity when he casts a spell without chanting. Maddie attacks him and aims for his head. When Devilis is off guard, Maddie strikes his vital point and manages to reveal his disguise. Devilis' real form is revealed to everyone, much to their surprise. It turns out that the demons infiltrate humans and obliterate the wordless magic so that humans become weaker. They even spread the rumor about the 4th crest being the crest of failure, whereas the reality is the opposite and they are afraid of the 4th crest bearer. Maddie beats Devilis, who is trying to escape, and defeats him. The head of the academy then calls the royal guards to arrest Devilis. The next day, Maddie and Edward, the headmaster, come to the royal palace at the invitation of the king. The king intends to give a reward to Maddie for his action. The king thanks Maddie for defeating the demon and asks Maddie what he wants for the reward. Maddie replies and asks for the authority to have the kingdom's dungeon resources, namely the monsters and the mineral stones in the dungeon. In Maddie's era, every kingdom went to war with each other just to fight over the dungeon. But nowadays, since humans' knowledge of magic has decreased, people nowadays do not know the true value of the dungeons. The king agrees and grants Maddie's request. He then tells Maddie 4 magical chosen ones suddenly disappeared. It is possible that they are demons who have disguised themselves as humans, one of which is the child who was defeated by Maddie, and they will use all their strength to destroy the kingdom. The king and the headmaster panicked after hearing Maddie's explanation. Maddie goes on to explain that the demons will take time around 3 months to gather troops to attack the kingdom. The king and the headmaster are surprised to learn that, but Maddie calms them and says he will build a giant barrier around the kingdom in 1 month. The barrier will prevent the demons from attacking the kingdom, and with the help of the academy students, the magic defensive barrier will be done in 1 month. Finally, the king can be at ease and he leaves the matter to Maddie. Inside the castle treasure room, Maddie finds a couple of old artifacts that he created in his previous life. Those artifacts are a magical sword and a pendant, which is a magical accessory that greatly increases the XP gain from battle. Later outside, Maddie oversees the students of the academy practice chantless magic. Both Luri and Alma then approach Maddie about what they heard from the headmaster concerning the barrier. Maddie confirms it and claims that he'll be exploring a dungeon to collect the necessary items for him to accomplish it. The news surprises the two and Maddie has an epiphany to have the two of them join him as a party to explore the dungeon with him. At first, the two are reluctant to join him due to their inadequate fighting capabilities. Alma says that her skill in archery is only useful for hunting and cannot help her in combat. Maddie then shows her that she is wrong. He then shows her how to use the magic arrow correctly, and he performs enhancement on the arrows. Moreover, Maddie tells her that her crest suits best with the archery technique he showed her. They finally agree to join Maddie. Eventually, the group makes it to the dungeon, and there Maddie fetches a tiny monster, and they use it as target practice to allow Luri to get the hang of her newly learned enchanted archery. The practice continues for a bit, and after Luri learns the basics of the thread-guided chant, she's tasked by Maddie to kill 2 monsters with a single arrow. Along with Alma, Maddie teaches her how to filter and compound the dungeon material or its ore into metal. By doing this, they gain mithril and iron clusters, and Maddie promises to teach her how to make the newly acquired ore into enchanted weapons. Elsewhere, Luri manages to kill 3 monsters with her thread-guided chant skill, while only using a single arrow. Regrouping with Maddie and Alma, Luri witnesses Alma trying out some weapons that she created, and Luri then makes some plated armor for her and Alma. Maddie then announces that they'll be hitting the 10th floor of the dungeon and will serve as a test for the skills that they've learned to that point. On their way to the 10th floor, both Luri and Alma excel in their combative capabilities and gain enhanced X due to the pendant Maddie wears. Soon the group faces off against a killer dog. The monster looks dangerous, but Maddie leaves Alma and Luri to handle the monster alone. It's thanks to the cooperative teamwork between Luri and Alma they manage to kill it without Maddie's help. Once the killer dog is dealt with, Maddie sets up a barrier of a safe zone for Alma and Luri to take a rest while he continues to explore deeper parts of the dungeon, as he can't find the material he needs on that floor. Moreover, he also wants to make sure of his current abilities and decides to go down to the 25th floor. Luri and Alma are surprised with Maddie's words, as the deepest record that can be reached is only up to the 23rd floor, and the only ones who can do that are a party of 30 legendary people who have received the blessing of the god of magic Gaius. Maddie is surprised by Alma's words and looks confused, but he dismisses all his suspicions and thinks it is just a coincidence. Down on one of the lower floors, Maddie finds adamantite and gets interested in the presence of a boss monster on the floor below where he is currently. Following his interests, Maddie goes down a floor and he casts magic to eliminate the small monsters and pillars that interfere with his movements. He then uses his detection skill to locate the floor boss, and suddenly the wall behind him explodes and the floor boss appears. Maddie faces off against the boss monster, which is an arc serpent. The snake monster immediately attacks Maddie aggressively. Maddie draws his sword and attacks Arc Serpent and manages to pluck one of its scales. The attack is intentional by Maddie so that the snake will think of it as a threat and immediately devour him alive. Inside the snake's body, Maddie uses explosion magic and manages to get out. After that, Maddie slashes the snake's body with his sword, but it seems like all these attacks aren't enough to defeat the floor boss. Finally, Maddie decides to use a secret technique by destroying the magic stone and turning it into mana particles. He then gathers all the mana particles into his sword. As a result, his strength increases drastically, then with one slash, he manages to kill a monster and makes the entire dungeon floor rumble. Even Luria and Alma feel the shaking. Upon returning to the two ladies, Maddie shows them the corpse of the boss monster he defeated, which shocks them immensely. Maddie, Luria, and Alma visit the local adventurer guild to turn in the goods they found during their time in the dungeon. The receptionist there mistakes Maddie as the porter of the party, to which he claims that he's carrying his own material and summons the severed head of the Arc Serpent from his inventory. Outside, the receptionist appraises the Arc Serpent's head and then the magic stone that came from the body of the boss monster. Despite the receptionist claiming the guild doesn't have funds to buy what Maddie's party provided, in the end, they still earn 750 gold. While walking back to the academy, Maddie notices the presence of two powerful demons. The demons seem to want to launch an attack on the Royal Academy to see the strength of the person who defeated their friend. Back to Maddie's group, Maddie gauges their power and warns that one of them is stronger than Devilis. He tells Luria and Alma to defeat the weaker demon and separate it from the stronger one. Meanwhile, Maddie will face off against the strong demon. Wasting no time, Maddie confronts the two demons and goes on the offensive. The demons are surprised by their sudden attack. However, it seems that Maddie cannot hurt them without enhancement. Learning that Maddie is the one who defeated Devilis, the demons quickly attack Maddie with a magic spell. However, Maddie manages to take control of the fire spell cast at him with one of his magic control spheres. He then tells Alma to fire her arrow at the demon. Their plan goes accordingly, and the two demons get separated, and they will fight the demons separately. Alone with Maddie, Astral starts to cast a large spell that's great enough to destroy his control spheres, but Maddie casts a small fireball at the spell's weak point to destroy it outright. Maddie then tries to attack Astral with his swordsmanship skill. As he predicted, the demons are weak in swordsmanship. As a result, Maddie gets the upper hand in the battle. Cornered, Astral then uses his strongest spell, but Maddie can easily cancel it out. Astral then says to Maddie arrogantly that he will let him go for this time. But suddenly, Astral's entire body is hit by a very strong magic, which turns out to be a trap for Maddie. Maddie uses magic, what's called an occlusion orb, which is magic that will encapsulate the opponent when the opponent uses magic. Afterward, Maddie heads to help the girls finish things off against the demon. There, Maddie threatens that he will attack him using high-level light magic, which will kill him in one strike. The demon panics and is afraid of Maddie, who managed to defeat Astral, and he tries to escape. Apparently, Maddie is just bluffing about the magic as he cannot create such strong magic. He then tells Alma to shoot the demon who is running away, and after Alma's arrow manages to hit him, Maddie finishes him off. The battle against the demons draws attention from onlookers around the city. Hence, Maddie takes the girls in his grasp and uses a levitation spell to flee the scene. The following day, Maddie, Edward, Lurie, and Alma are granted an audience with the king, who offers Maddie another reward for his group's recent accomplishment. After carefully contemplating it over, Maddie requests more dungeons and the king honors his request. Turning his attention to the girls, the king asks what they'd like, and both Lurie and Alma decide on money for their reward. Maddie senses the presence of a demon in the room. Apparently, a demon is spying on them and watching their conversation using a magical visual feed. Maddie disrupts the magical visual feed cast to watch their conversation, making him scream in pain. The king recognizes the voice as Elhart, former captain of the Magic Order. The king is worried that their plan to build a barrier has been leaked to the demon's race. Maddie decides to kill the demon who was eavesdropping earlier, but he says that the location is very far and cannot be reached by his teleportation magic. The headmaster is shocked after finding out that Maddie can use the legendary teleportation magic. Maddie and the party then head to a dark and desolate location. It is a backup plan to reach the demon's location. Lurie and Alma wonder where they are heading to, are surprised and frightened at the same time as they reach the dragon lair. Moreover, is the legendary dragon who is nicknamed the Kingdom Destroyer, namely the Black Dragon Iris. It turns out that Iris is an old acquaintance of Maddie when he was still the great sage Gaius. Maddie defeated Iris in the past and let her go. He wishes that Iris still acknowledges him. As the group approaches Iris, the dragon wakes up and threatens Maddie with her terrifying voice. Iris even launches Dragon Breath skill and plans on attacking Maddie and his party. However, Maddie can easily cancel it out. The dragon then talks to Maddie, wondering how a kid can speak dragon language. She asks Maddie if he has anything to do with the great sage Gaius. Maddie then explains he is the reincarnation of Gaius. Iris immediately apologizes and prostrates before him. Maddie then tells Iris he wants her to take him to the demon's location. Iris then shows him her broken wings. She has lost her ability to fly for 5,000 years. Apparently, after Gaius passed away, a magic reactor from a kingdom exploded and caused humans to return to the Stone Age. There was also the explosion that had injured Iris' wings. Hearing this, Maddie finally knows why today's technology is not as advanced as it should be. Then Maddie heals Iris' wings with his magic. Iris looks extremely happy because after thousands of years, she can finally fly again. After introducing Alma and Luri to Iris, Iris allows the party to ride on her back and fly to the demon's location. Upon reaching the ruined village, Maddie instantly deals with the demon stationed at the watchtower. Luri, Alma, and Iris watch this accomplishment in utter shock and amazement. Noting the magical presence that Maddie felt there is the same from the castle, Maddie notes that there are two strong demons, which one of them is Elhart and the other has far greater power. Inside the small tower, Maddie establishes a telepathic communication line with Luri and Alma. Furthermore, he gives Alma a casting circle as a way to go on the offensive. Within the next room, Maddie tells the girls to stay quiet as the enemy is using a concealment spell to hide their magical power and presence. Luri then senses scarce magical power in the corner. Maddie looks proud of them who have improved this far. He then unveils the demon's presence, who still believes he's still invisible to the group and is then shot in the forehead by Alma's thread chant arrow. Upset that his cover was blown, the demon figures that Maddie is really a fake as the real one is still in the capital, and doesn't expect that Maddie will arrive in a short time as the distance between that place and the royal capital is very far. The demon then attacks Maddie as he instructs Alma to go on the offensive with enchanted arrows against the demon. As the demon continues to attack Maddie, enchanted arrows are shot into its back, causing his internal magical power to agglutinate. Left with no other alternative, the demon casts Disfortune, which transforms the demon into a bigger, bulkier form and gains tremendous power in exchange for the user's lifespan. The demon then tries to attack Luri and Alma, but what he attacked was an illusion made of magitoxins. Alma then finishes the demon off with an arrow at the demon's head, and Maddie calls the demon by his name Elhart. Alma and Luri finally are able to defeat a demon for the first time, but it is not over yet. There's another demon they need to take care of. Maddie prepares a ritual to make the demon appear using 3 magic stones. He crushes the magic stones to create a magical calamity. This causes the remaining demon to disperse from his mist state. The two briefly talk and then start the battle, where the demon gets the upper hand on Maddie and cuts off his left arm. But Maddie reattaches his arm, which surprises the demon. The demon is astonished that Maddie has such great power. Moreover, he's unable to land a single blow on Maddie. Maddie then cuts the demon's right wrist with his sword laced with some magic toxin. Backed into a corner, the demon casts Magic Circuit Overload, which increases power, but Maddie easily cancels it out. The demon gets angry and he uses his strongest magic spell. This time, the demon transforms into mist, and whoever gets hit by the magic will die. However, Maddie once again cancels it out. Suddenly, the demon's body is surrounded by a magic aura. It seems that Maddie's trap starts to work. Maddie reveals that the substance used on him earlier wasn't the same toxin used on Elhart, and by using a magic stone in his hands, he makes the demon explode. What's left behind after the demon explodes is a giant magic stone. Luri leaps off of Iris to jump onto Maddie. She is happy that he is safe and successfully defeats the demon. Maddie blushes when he sees Luri's smile. Maddie informs the girls about the magic stone called the Dragon Vein and explains it has great power. It's deduced by Maddie that the demon's objective was to create a horde of monsters. The number of monsters in the horde was said to be about 5,000, and the target area would be the capital. Maddie decides to return to the academy and prepares to fight the monsters. On their way back, Maddie thinks of Iris's fate and he offers her to join the academy so that she will be near them and her healing process will be easier to be done. He then asks Iris to perform transformation magic and change into a human. Iris then performs transformation magic and transforms into a girl. Luri and Alma quickly close Maddie's eyes so that he can't see Iris in nude. Arriving at the academy, Maddie gives a report to the headmaster about what they went through. He also asks the headmaster to accept Iris as a student at the academy. The headmaster agrees as long as she passes the transfer student entrance test and obtains a perfect score. Maddie agrees on the condition and asks if he can see the test. Apparently, Maddie is afraid that Iris will destroy the school with her tremendous power. Maddie then applies a fake crest on Iris's hand so that people won't get suspicious of her. The next day, Iris easily finishes the written test and she easily defeats the assessor in the swordsmanship test. The headmaster is amazed at her power. The final test is the magic spell test. As Maddie predicted, Iris has difficulty taking control of her magic to the point that her attack almost hits them. Fortunately, Maddie immediately creates a barrier to protect them. Iris gets serious and tries once again. This time, Maddie prepares to face the worst possibility, and as the magic is released by Iris, it destroys the exam ground and the surrounding buildings. Seeing the unexpected results of the test, the headmaster angrily accepts Iris as a student at the academy. Maddie feels uneasy about the incident and promises that he will fix it. In the dungeon where the students of the Second Royal Academy excavate the place, Maddie gets an update on the current situation from the headmaster. As it turns out, the most efficient crest for the task is the Crest of Glory is scarce due to the First Royal Academy having a monopoly over them. Maddie then asks if it's possible to ask the First Royal Academy to enlist some of its students to help their cause. The headmaster says it is a bit difficult because of the relationship with the First Academy. Eventually, the head of the First Royal Academy abruptly enters Edward's room and chastises him for summoning him. He thinks that the students of the First Academy are superior than the students of the Second Academy. He refuses to work together. Hence, Maddie proposes a competition to settle the matter, and the headmaster agrees to it on the condition that Maddie and his party don't participate in it. Maddie confidently agrees to it, and the headmaster sets the competition to be in 2 days. On the day of the competition, a large number of First Royal Academy students get ready to face off against the Second Royal Academy students. Maddie takes Iris to watch the competition in case there is a demon disguised as a human in the crowd. But Maddie doesn't seem to feel the demon's presence. Maddie then tells the students of the Second Academy to come out. The headmaster of the First Academy is shocked to see the First Academy appoint mere 5 students. Moreover, none of them bears the first crest, which is considered the strongest one. The competition begins, and the students of the First Academy start to chant the spell but are attacked by the Second Academy students. Thanks to Chantless magic, they become superior and easily win the match by overwhelming their opponents with their Chantless magic. Refusing to accept the result of the battle, the headmaster of the Second Academy claims that all 5 of the Second Academy students are monsters that he demands for rematch and demands that Iris, who looks weak, take part in the battle. However, he loses his composure as Iris bends the blend like a limp noodle and calls her a monster. After the match, the king orders the First Academy students to learn Chantless magic and help the Second Academy build the giant barrier to protect the kingdom. Eventually, Maddie, accompanied by Iris, Alma, and Luri, explores the deeper caverns of the dungeon to get a magic stone. The girls then face off against some dungeon monsters as Maddie evaluates them and notes how poor Iris's control over her strength is. After defeating a horde of monsters, Alma and Luri are happy that they can reach the 17th floor. Iris then comments that her acquaintance reached the 645th floor. With an adequate-sized magic stone, Maddie has Luri cast a casting circle around it and receives some help from Maddie. Once completed, Maddie has Iris infuse it with some magic, but she infuses too much into it, causing a giant dragon to be summoned. Following Maddie's orders, Iris disparages the dragon and keeps it distracted long enough for Luri to enchant an arrow and have Alma shoot it at the dragon. The dragon continues to go on a rampage, but Maddie insists that they continue as he sets up more casting circles. In a pinch, Iris rescues Alma and Luri the moment the dragon tries to attack them by punching the dragon away from them. The result of the battle is that Iris provokes the dragon to cast a breath spell and Maddie captures it so he can reflect it back at it. It nearly fails due to Iris falling into a pitfall, and Maddie uses a barrier to protect her, leaving him exposed to the spell's explosion. However, Maddie makes it out unscathed and the dragon explodes due to its dragon breath. Finally, they manage to defeat the dragon safely and obtain the huge magic stone. Returning to the academy, Maddie has Iris train in the ruined training ground to get used to her new human body. Maddie ruins the training ground to help train herself to develop some muscle memory. Luri, in the meantime, is assigned to create armor and weapons by Maddie so she can level up her enchantment skills. He also asks for a sword created just for him. Following Maddie's instructions, Luri manages to create the sword and Iris manages to get used to dodging Alma's arrows, all while protecting the shell atop her head. Maddie then has the party try out the new weapons that Luri created for them. Luri creates a new sword for herself, Alma a new bow, and Iris a new spear. These are wonderful weapons with great power. Even Luri is amazed with the weapon she made. The next day, as Maddie is busy preparing the barrier, Luri and Alma report that the demon's presence has been detected. Maddie figures that what they were detecting was the demons using a spell called Magirode and asks that they take care of it. He wants them to practice their training results. Alma and Luri recall Maddie's instructions to fight against the demons. Just then, a single demon exits from the Majorode portal way and Alma kills it with a single arrow. Another demon then appears and the arrow shot is not enough. Hence, Luri finishes it off with her sword. Elated that they managed to successfully complete a dispatch for the first time together, they then sense a surge of energy from the capital. They immediately head back to tell Maddie about the matter. Returning to Maddie, he assures the two that everything is fine and explains that the demons may appear before the academy. Maddie has the two girls head back to the surface and prepare for the arrival of the demons. The two understand and head off back to the surface. Iris then appears and drops off 40 boxes of mithril for Maddie. Outside, Luri and Alma meet with the headmaster and he informs them that Maddie left them an abundance of magic stones. At that moment, a single demon appears and casts a spell at the students there only for it to be blocked by one of Maddie's spells that he cast earlier. Under Edward's orders, a couple of students cast spells that are unable to reach the demon, so Alma shoots an arrow at it, which the demon catches and breaks. Luri gives the enhanced arrow to Alma and she shoots it at the demon who dodges it. However, Alma redirects the arrow's direction and lands the demon's heart, and then some students then cast fireballs at it to finish it off. The students look happy that they are able to defeat the demon. However, their victory over the demon is ephemeral as another demon appears to cast an even more potent spell than the last demon. Now without any protection from Maddie's spell and surrounded by a large number of demons, all hope seems to be lost, but Alma still insists on buying time for Maddie's sake. On the other hand, Maddie appears and begins to fight them. The demons look panicked as they sense a different aura coming from Maddie, unlike an ordinary human. The demon transforms itself and launches a powerful attack on Maddie, but it still cannot hurt him. His friends on the academy ground are amazed by his combat skills. After defeating all the demons, Luri and Alma approach Maddie and hug him. Maddie informs them that the barrier prepared to protect the royal capital is almost done and only needs the last touch. He then plants the last magic stone to activate the barrier, and the entire capital is now being protected by the defensive barrier. The people look amazed at the beautiful barrier, but it is not over yet. Maddie and his party have to face the monsters that will be summoned around the kingdom, and the demons seem to appear inside the barrier because the demons have prepared the summoning spell in the kingdom. Under the headmaster's order, the students get ready to face off against the monster, while Maddie and the girls are watching from afar. Maddie thinks that the students' skills are more than enough to fight the low-class monsters. Just then, higher-ranked monsters appear and Maddie and his party have to deal with them. Maddie throws Iris towards the monster while Alma launches her attacks with her arrows. Then Maddie spots a monster devouring the other monsters to become stronger. It is called Void Eater. Maddie wants Void Eater to devour all the monsters so that he can save his time and doesn't need to fight the other monsters. Once the monster's evolution is complete, it looks dangerous. Luri and Alma are scared of the monster and hide behind Maddie. Maddie faces off against the monster and attacks its eyes. Using his enhanced sword, Maddie begins to slash the monster. However, the monster seems to have a great regeneration skill as it quickly recovers as before. Maddie then creates several magic spheres around the monster. The magic spheres reflect the attack coming from Maddie's sword. It seems that this is the specialty of the fourth symbol he has. The spells and the attacks created by Maddie will continue to be active until the monster dies or runs out of magic mana. As the monster starts to look weak, Maddie launches his ultimate attack and cuts off its head. Therefore, Maddie and his friends have succeeded in defending the capital from the demon's attack. The students of the academy and residents look relieved and happy at the same time. Afterward, Maddie plans on exploring dungeons outside the capital. He then reports to the headmaster that he plans on leaving the academy to search for more dragon veins scattered across the land. Due to Maddie's great achievement, the headmaster proposes that he stay connected with the academy on a special scholarship. It's so the academy can flourish greater with all of Maddie's achievements under its belt, but also for the kingdom and the academy to offer their aid in a time of need for Maddie. After considering the offer, Maddie accepts it. The offer is also given to Luri and Alma, who both accept, as does Iris. When they're all prepared for their journey, the group is seen off by the headmaster and their student peers. The scene shows Maddie and his party walking down a pathway leading out of the capital and heading to the Melkia dungeon. A dungeon located in a city that has thousands of floors inside. After walking along the mountain and valley, they finally arrive at the city. The city is located on a hill and surrounded by steep cliffs. Being known as the City of Adventurers, Melkia doesn't seem like what they imagine, as it looks terrible. While fascinated by the magical lamp post, they're warned by a merchant to stay away from it as it's known to explode. Moments after this warning, the lamp post explodes and the group learns from the merchant that the new lord forbids using magic stones to power the magic lampposts. This is because magic stones are a precious commodity and extracting power from an alternate source is more efficient, mainly the dragon vein. Maddie then asks if the town's populace is so low because of the Lord, and the merchant confirms it. He explains after learning about the presence of monsters on the 10th floor, the new Lord had all adventurers go to the dungeon to capture the monsters without assessing their strength beforehand. As a result, many adventurers got hurt and there were many casualties. Maddie comments that sending inexperienced people into a dungeon is very dangerous. Then Maddie and his party head to the Adventurers Guild to get permits to be allowed to investigate the dungeon. However, they're told by the guild receptionist they need approval from the Lord to get the permits. Just then, another receptionist barges through the entrance of the guild and asks if there's anyone who knows of any healing spells, as there's a bunch of injured adventurers. Maddie then volunteers himself and the group is led to the local church. In complete shock by the number of injured and the inadequate number of healers there. The receptionist explains that the Lord fired most of the healers, claiming they were a waste of money. Resolved to save all of the injured people there, Maddie appraises the condition of each injured person there and marks their condition. Maddie will heal heavily injured people, while his friends will take care of people who have light injuries. In their room in the inn, Maddie writes a letter to the headmaster. The following day, the group awakens in their room at the inn and Maddie informs the group that they receive a message from the king. They're told to meet him in the predestined place. They immediately rush to the scene. Later, the group meets with Ake, the king's messenger, in one of the mine's tunnels. He informs the group of the king's response to Maddie's report that Lord Dokyo Melkia is to be arrested for his exploration of the mines. Furthermore, Maddie is able to perform the arrest himself under the supervision of Ike. Maddie agrees to these terms and Alma, Iris, and Luri agree to help. Maddie tells Ike they have set a tracker and managed to find their hideout. They then rush ahead to their base. Arriving at the scene, they feel something fishy. At the manor where the Lord resides, there are no guards stationed outside, but Maddie's magic reveals that the inside of the place is heavily guarded. Charging into the manor, the men inside attack the group with a bombardment of spells, but Luri's barrier protects the group. The people are surprised that their attacks can be stopped by a kid. Maddie then counterattacks with a lightning spell that knocks out all of the men there. Following Maddie's lead, the group locates the Lord in a hidden basement. Lord Melkia wonders how kids can get into his place. He then summons a swarm of men to attack Maddie, who handily defeated them all with a fire spell. Maddie then knocks out Melkia with a snap of his fingers, and Ake promises to take the unconscious Melkia to the king for interrogation. Wanting to stay in the town to investigate how Melkia and his men were privy to the investigation into the corruption in the city, Maddie then shows Ake a burnt piece of paper about the investigation. Using his magic to scan it, Maddie believes the culprit is a demon. Suddenly, the ground starts to tremor and Maddie deduces that the demons have already begun endowing their magic into the vein. Figuring they only have 2 hours until a monster horde reaches and decimates the town, Maddie and the group head into the dungeon. Upon reaching the dungeon, the group notices that no demons are around and Maddie believes that they've headed into the deeper levels to lay a trap for them. Locating the vein behind a wall, Maddie has Iris dig it up and he goes to the lower level to confront the demons while the girls try and purify the vein. He also casts a communication spell onto the vein so that they'll be able to communicate with one another while Maddie deals with the demons on the lower level. As Maddie deals with the monsters on his way down to the lower level of the dungeon, he keeps an open communication channel with Luri. Confronting the demon, Maddie magically wiretaps into its communication channel with another demon and learns that the demon on the other side is aware of Maddie's plans. Once their conversation is over, Maddie attacks the demon with his magically amplified sword, but the demon manages to block the attack with its own barrier spell. Wary of the type of barrier used to deflect his attack, Maddie hears the demon boss instruct the demon there to use tactics designed to deal with someone with a crest of failure, namely to launch a long-range attack. Noting that the demon is stronger than any other demon that he has faced to that point, Maddie contacts Luri to prepare casting circles 14 and 17. The battle between the two then continues as the demon unleashes long-range attacks against Maddie, who hopes to get a clue to the demon boss's identity. After dodging the demon's attacks, Maddie learns from the demon's communication with its boss that they plan on using the trap against him. In retaliation, Maddie has Luri activate the casting circle 14 to nullify the trap's power, and then the 17th to disrupt the demon's communication channel. Maddie then exploits the weakness in the barrier that was protecting the demon. The demon, now able to communicate with their boss again, informs him that he really may be the reincarnation of Gaius. However, the demon boss refutes that notion and orders him to use Disfortune, but despite this, Maddie still defeats the demon by decapitating it. At the same time, Luri has also finished neutralizing the dragon's veins, and thus the monsters attacking the city of Dungeon are immediately destroyed without any remains. Before leaving that place, Maddie plans to find the location of the demon boss with his tracking magic. He feels that the demon he will face this time will be the toughest opponent he has ever faced. Maddie informs his friends he has saved the location of the head demon in his magic stone. He tells them the demon is in the Redina Alliance, but they need a recommendation letter and permission from the king regarding the matter. Therefore, Maddie decides to return to the academy and ask for help from their headmaster. Eventually, the group reaches the Second Royal Academy and is surprised to see that the academy is being rebuilt. Soon, the headmaster approaches the group and informs them that the academy is being rebuilt to better withstand a demon attack. Maddie fully elaborates on the situation about the demon in the mine and their plans to track down the mastermind located across the border. The headmaster then asks where their destination is. Maddie answers the Redina Alliance and asks for his and the king's cooperation. He agrees to help and will get a recommendation to get the guild's cooperation as well. Until the king gives his official approval for the permit, Maddie's group helps out with the construction. Afterward, the headmaster gives the group their permit, granting them access through the border along with the king's voucher. Heading past the border, Maddie notes that their destination in the Redina Alliance is a restricted area, and the only way to gain access there is to level up their rank to A. How they can accomplish this is to complete a ranking test given to them by the guild there. Arriving in the Redina Alliance city, the group first heads to the guild there and is warmly greeted by the guild master who heard from the king about their mission. Hearing the circumstances further from Maddie and the party, Guild Master allows Maddie and his crew to take the Rank Ascension test, which would be conducted by a guild proctor. However, the person that the Guild Master wanted was unable to perform the duty, and S-Rank Guild member Giluas shows up to take their place. Despite the Guild Master's pleas, Giluas arrogantly insists that he perform the duty, and Maddie allows it. Outside in the guild training grounds, Giluas passes Alma, Luri, and Iris off the bat, but challenges Maddie to a duel. Figuring this was Gilua's plan from the start, Maddie accepts the proposal, and the duel rules are set that the battle is over when one concedes defeat or is knocked out. Giluas also notes that he doesn't use magic despite having great magical potential and perhaps unconsciously using enhancement magic on himself. At the start of the battle, Maddie uses enhancement magic on himself as well and matches Gilua's blow for blow. Amid the battle, Giluas jumps high and mimics a move that Maddie used during the battle to get an aerial advantage on Maddie. Maddie is impressed by how quickly Giluas learns and mimics his moves. In the end, Maddie uses a bit of enhancement magic on himself to overpower Giluas and make him concede defeat. Maddie is declared to pass the Ranka test. Being seen off by Giluas, Maddie explains that their goal is to enter a highly restricted area. The place is the Atelas Plains in the Folkia region, and Ellis notes he's heard the place has a weird vibe to it along with a myriad of other things. He offers his help and Maddie accepts it. Later, the group arrives at the checkpoint and is given a wooden pass by one of the guards that grants them access through the gate. Reaching their destination, Luri immediately senses demonic presence all across the city. Maddie claims that the feeling is weak due to a concealment spell that's cast around the city. Maddie decides not to enter the city through the front gate. Instead, he takes the group to a secret tunnelway used by the demons. Sensing the presence of a demon ahead, Maddie phases through the wall and uses his magic to temporarily blind its senses with a Stupefy spell, allowing the group to pass by it undetected. On the surface of the town, the group finds out from Maddie that the townsfolk have a spell called the Paralysis on them, a spell just like Stupefaction. They plan to infiltrate a factory to get more information. In front of the factory, a demon disguised as a human checks the Stupefaction spell on those who enter. To counter this, Maddie casts an anti-the Paralysis on them all and tells them to act as if they were under its influence. They do, and Iris causes a scene where she trips and falls. However, the demon that checks up on her figures that the thought paralysis cast on her was too much, which causes it to degrade. Inside the building, they find that the people working there are putting a special ore called Rankane magical ore into the furnaces there. Maddie concludes that the demons are doing this to refine the ore so that it can be made into explosives. In his opinion, Maddie states that a ton of the ores of 100 purity could blow up an entire kingdom. The four of them prepare to fight them to save the townspeople. Maddie releases all the power of Iris's magic to provoke the demons. The head of the demons immediately orders his underlings to start fighting the intruders. Maddie tells Iris to distract them and divert their attention while he kills the demons from behind secretly. Meanwhile, Alma and Luri are given the task of throwing explosive magic stones at the demons without them knowing. In this way, Maddie and the others manage to kill dozens of demons easily. The leader of the demons then orders his men to perform a detection spell to find the source of the chaos, but Maddie has already predicted the devil's move. He tells Alma and Luri to remove their magic aura. As a result, the demons find nothing but Iris. After the 22nd demon is dealt with, the head demon investigates the body of a recently deceased demon. It then informs the remaining demons that it sensed the presence of two people, and that the demon there wasn't killed by a trap, but by a sword. The demons then change their strategy to consolidate in one location, and Maddie figures the demons have figured out that there are no traps. The head demon then instructs the remaining demons to use the Magistones to blow up the city in a desperate attempt to eliminate their foes. However, before they can even make a move, Ulysses appears to eliminate the demons and the head demon. On the other hand, Maddie, with a bit of help from Iris, eliminates the remaining demons, leaving Ulysses to face off against the head demon. He tries to strike the head demon, but he gets hit more. Ulysses then uses enhancement magic to fight the demon. Maddie finds Ulysses has improved, and he also masters a magic spell that enables him to cut a hard object. However, this spell is like a double-edged sword that will absorb its user's strength. In his calculation, he thinks that if Ulysses fails to knock the demon out in one strike, he may lose the battle. As Ulysses strikes, it turns out his spell is not enough to kill the head demon, but he refuses to give in and casts the spell once again. The head demon casts a demonic flash spell, and they clash for the final blow. After a strenuous battle against the head demon, Ulysses wins. Unbeknownst to the group, the head demon was down but not defeated. The demon regains its consciousness and tries to attack, but Maddie quickly blocks its attack. The demon suddenly speaks in a different voice. It seems that the demon is controlled by the other demon. Maddie recognizes the demon talking to him as the same as the one within the dungeon. Just then, Ulysses asks for help and Maddie heals him. With the demons defeated, all of the town residents have been freed from their thought paralysis spell. Hence, Ulysses uses his authority to take control of the situation and appoints the factory foreman as the provisional lord of the city. At the front gate of the city, Ulysses gives Maddie a permit to enter Fulkia's restricted area, and with that the group part ways with him. The group continues their journey to the ruins to search for a magic detector device. Arriving at their destination, Maddie opens up the entryway and leaps into the pit below to enter the ruins. Once everyone is inside of the ruins, Maddie splits the group up to find any weapons. With everyone gone, Maddie starts to power the ruins' core until Luri returns with a sword that he created in his previous life. Alma then returns with a heavy spear she thought would be good for Iris to use. However, Maddie admonishes the idea due to the spear's magical properties. The ruins' core is now fully charged, and it's used to track the mastermind demon's location with the help of a part from the factory. It's also deduced that the demon plans to wipe out humanity as a whole. After using a Magistone to help detect and get more information on the demon's location and other information, they learn the demon's name is Zardias, and that at their current strength, they're unable to beat it. Maddie explains they need to use eternity magic to be able to defeat Zardias and need to train for hundreds of years. But after defeating Zardias, they have to rebuild humanity, as Zardias must wipe it out. Moreover, humans must have almost become extinct while they are practicing. Iris laments that they don't have sufficient weaponry that could be found there that helps take the monster down, which gives Maddie an epiphany. Using the sword that Luri brought, Maddie uses it as a way to search for other magical items that would help them in their endeavor against the demon. Specifically, Maddie was looking for a certain sword, and as it so happens, it was in the kingdom of East, and they rushed to return to the kingdom. En route to the kingdom, while riding on Iris' back, Maddie gives Luri and Alma Magistones to locate the sword. An outburst of power felt by the group then leads Maddie to conclude that Zardia's seal was broken. Maddie then orders Luri and Alma to search for the sword while he deals with Zardias, and the two then head for the kingdom's treasury to retrieve the sword. Maddie then prepares for the upcoming fight by enchanting his sword and hopes to seal the space Zardias was going to use to teleport to him as a way to either buy time or even damage him. The moment Zardias' portal opens up, Maddie tries to seal it but fails. Hence, Iris is asked to use her dragon fire breath against him, but the attack is also ineffective against him. Wasting no time, Zardias pulls out his sword and with a single slash attacks Iris. Maddie uses multiple barriers to try and protect Iris, who dodges the attack. Zardias then attacks and overpowers Maddie, who admits he's the most powerful demon he's faced up to that point. Meanwhile, Luri and Alma reach the treasure, but the guard that prevents them from entering, noting they need permission from the king to enter. Right as they're surrounded by more guards, the king appears and is explained by Luri of the current situation and allows the two entry into the treasury. Back in the battle, Maddie struggles to defend against Zardias' attacks and Iris has to come to help him. Zardias mocks Maddie for being weak. Maddie realizes that in order to win the fight, he'll have to give up his life. As Luri and Alma are in the treasury room, they have difficulty finding the sword. Suddenly, Luri has a sign from the Magistone Maddie gave her. The sign directs to a black box containing a sword that emits a powerful magic aura. Alma and Luri hurry back to the battlefield to hand the sword to Maddie. On the other hand, Maddie struggles to fight against Zardias, who is fully aware of Maddie's plans to buy time and hints that he already has subordinates inside the city's barrier. Maddie remembers that Zardias can revive his deceased underlings. This is proven to be true as both Ashral and Deshral are shown to have been revived by Zardias and ambush Luri and Alma. Alma and Luri panic as they see a demon before them, but they recognize the demon before them is the same demon they defeated in the town and find out they were revived by Zardias' ability. They fight the demon and manage to beat it. Just then, another demon appears. The demon knows that Lama and Luri took a weapon from the treasury room and demands them to hand over the sword. Initially, Alma and Luri want to put up a fight with the demon, but the demon shows them two students taken hostages, leaving them confused. Back outside, Maddie continues to struggle against Zardias, who tries to attack the barrier surrounding the city. Despite his attempts to deflect the magical attacks from Zardias, the demon deflects one attack onto Iris, who is protected by another barrier erected by Maddie. This leaves an opening for Zardias to attack Maddie, who is unable to protect himself against the attack. Zardias then taunts Maddie to ditch trying to protect the city and fully concentrate on facing off against him. Maddie contemplates his options between using his remaining power to enhance his sword or casting a reincarnation spell to gather power and fight Zardias in the next life. However, he realizes that the humans must be extinct if he chooses the reincarnation spell because Zardias' goal is to wipe out humanity. In the crisis, Maddie remembers Luri and the others who always have faith in him. Meanwhile, Luri and Alma continue to face off against Ashral and lay down their weapons, while Maddie contemplates his options and decides to enchant his sword and attack Zardias. Just before Ashral can take Luri and Alma's weapons, the headmaster, accompanied by a group of students, intervene in the scene, allowing the girls to counterattack. The students then bind Ashral in a magical ring, allowing the girls to try and deliver the sword to Maddie. On the other hand, Maddie uses Iris as a feint to get a sneak attack on Zardias, but the plan fails. Iris lands down on the city below and Alma throws Maddie the sword that he wanted, but this allows Zardias to fatally stab him in the back. Maddie loses his life due to the attack and free falls. Luri screams in disbelief. She and the others panic seeing what happened to their friend up there. However, before Maddie reaches the ground, a blinding light envelops his body and he is resurrected. It turns out the sword's special ability revives Maddie and infuses him with an immense amount of magical power. This power is activated once Maddie loses his life. As the sword bears a tremendous power, Maddie has difficulty controlling its power. He needs to be careful when using it as it can destroy the surroundings. With this new power, Maddie overpowers Zardias. Zardias tries to provoke Maddie, saying that his weak body won't last long. Maddie confidently replies that with the great power he has, he only needs to create his bones. Zardias is shocked by his answer and asks who he is, as no one can do that. Maddie then replies he is Matthias Hildesheimer, the bearer of the weakest crest of failure, while slays Zardias. Finally, Maddie successfully defeats Zardias. Before Zardias disappears, it warns Maddie of another chaos demon out there that will surely defeat him and then disintegrate. On the ground after the fierce combat, Maddie is embraced by Luri and is soon joined by Alma, Iris, the headmaster, and the students that accompany him. The headmaster thanks him for saving the kingdom and the people were unharmed because of him. After offering to rebuild the broken parts of the city, Maddie uses up the remaining power in his sword, and in the process creates a giant hole in a mountain. The following day, Maddie, Luri, Alma, and Iris are invited to an audience with the king. The king thanks them for slaying Zardias and rewards them with the sword that was from the treasury. Maddie is relieved to hear that as the sword from yesterday is a disposable sword that immediately shatters upon the use of its power. Alma and Luri are given money for the rewards and Iris gets food. Moreover, the king also rewards them with another treasure from the treasury. While inspecting the treasury, Maddie doesn't find any valuable weapons and comments that Luri's weapons are far better than those weapons in the treasury. Just then, Maddie finds an arrow made of adamantine on Iris's hair. Maddie believes the arrow came with a bow, and Maddie asks the guard there if it came with a bow made of the same material. The guard claims that it was so badly rusted that it was sold to a company called Isis. The group then visits the place and learns that the bow was melted down and mixed with various other metals. Despite the situation, Maddie decides to buy the metal along with the other metals as a way to abstract rare metals in the blocks. Maddie also purchases 2 gems for Iris and Luri. Outside of the company, the headmaster warns the group of an emergency. They all then are briefed about the situation by Guile about a wooden puppet that was retrieved which originated from the neighboring country of Saikyō. Maddie looks at the wooden puppet closely, and from Maddie's deduction, it was powered by human energy and is most likely created by demons. Maddie recalls Zardias' last message about the demon that will fight him and believes that Saikyō is under demon control to make humans fight with each other to make humans weaker, and the demons can get a chance to attack and wipe them out. Guile asks that Maddie travel to Cyril and deal with the demon problem, and Maddie agrees to help. That night, Maddie has prepared a gift for Luri and invites her to meet in person. Luri notices Maddie is up to something and asks him about that. However, Maddie is shy and he asks her to close her eyes. Maddie then gifts Luri a pendant that he created for her and she loves it. The following day, Maddie and the group are seen off by the headmaster and Guile before they head to Saikyō. Guile says if his forces are ready, he will catch up with them. En route to their destination, Maddie briefly reflects on what Zardia has told him about the other chaos demons out there. However, he's not discouraged by what's ahead and hopes to continue the adventure. This is the end of Shikkaku no Saikyō Kenja. Thank you so much for staying in this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you updated with our latest contents. See you in the next video.